Hey, Evi!
Shh, Tali! I'm sneaking up on this giraffe to tame it for my collection.
That's a giraffe.
The models haven't been updated for a while, but it's one of a whole bunch of new types that I can get in Shadowlands.
Yeah, I know! That's why I'm here! I thought with you working so hard recently, I'd treat you by going out and taming you a brand new Shadowlands pet.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, it took quite a while, but I got it!
Tali, thank you so much. Is it an alpaca?
No.
Is it a cloud serpent?
No.
Oh man, it's not an undead dinosaur, is it?
Even better, it's a BFA pig.
Oh, awesome. I love those little guys.
Yeah, and here he is now, your new best friend. Do you love it?
I'm taking the baby for a walk.
Okay.
Knowledge is power.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evertel's wondrous wisdom show, in a week where the theme is, and I have to say this okay, you're not going to like it, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it anyway, winning. Because it has been a very good week for Blizzard and for Shadowlands. And I know that you've just paused the video to leave a comment, and yes, I know what that comment is, and I don't even blame you, but it really has been a week of winning, as we've got alpha updates, class redesigns, changes based on actual real-life feedback, like from actual real-life players, stupid new hunter pet tames, heartwarming tributes, revolution in Irvine. Look, we weren't even going to make an episode at all this week, because frankly, it's been too hot to actually breathe, but I couldn't not share all of the winning with you, and we're going to start with our first win of the episode, the reason I know you're all really here, Longboi Watch, my apparently never-ending mission to raise the 5 million gold I need to buy Shadowlands' least obtainable mount, the mighty Caravan Brutasaur. You might remember that last week our total stood at 4,985,967, proper final straight territory in squeaky bum time, and after yet another week of painfully slow auction house heartbreak, my total now stands at 5,267, which, okay, is quite a bit less, but then it would be, wouldn't it? Because this week I made a very large purchase and a very long purchase. And ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to announce that now my watch has ended and I am the proud owner of the mighty Caravan Brutasaur! You can tell because for the first time I'm actually calling it by its proper name and not the Gilded Brutasaur, which I thought it was called, but I own it now, so I know better. Just to be clear, I have a Longboi and it's majestic. I mean, it's no glorious roly-poly hippo boy, obviously, but it's the next best thing. And I've got to say that aside from the usual delights that any expansion brings, raiding, dungeoning, generally hanging out online with my buddies, the two things that I've done in BFA that I am most proud of, Maurice and Baptiste. If you don't like the name, don't blame me, because it was the stream audience that voted for it. I wanted Matisse, because look at that stretchy marvel, he is a work of art. They were both limited time mount rewards, and that limited availability nature of the reward, just as much as the absolutely slapping mounts themselves, are what inspired me to take part in gameplay that I'd not only never bothered with before, but always just assumed that I couldn't do. To win Maurice, I learned how to PvP, did Rated Arena. For the Longboi, I taught myself how to gold farm and work TSM. I know that the idea of rewards only being available for a certain amount of time is something that a lot of people like to criticise, so I just thought I'd add my tuppence worth and say that in these two particular cases, that approach made me enjoy the expansion considerably more than I might have otherwise. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Taliesin, oh, grats by the way, now Longboi Watch is over, what will we watch? And that's a good question, because truth be told, I am pretty much done with BFA now. I still log every day just to say hello and run the odd Mythic Plus, because that is fun, but I pretty much won this expansion now, so really, we're on to Shadowlands Watch from here on in. Like, more so. And so it's just as well, really, that there's so much winning to talk about this week for the new expansion too, as a huge new wave of beta invites went out to get even more winners into testing, and for the first time, a complete leveling experience for them to test, which they basically had no choice in, because this week also saw a beta-wide character wipe, and currently no option for max level template characters, meaning if you want to test endgame stuff, well, you're going to have to level through the entirety of an expansion to do it. The ideal time to have another round of raid testing, right? Right? Winning. Now, obviously, this is intentional. We might all be excited to try out new legendaries and conduits and Mythic Plus and all those endgame goodies, and we have been doing that for the last few weeks, and we'll get the chance again. But Blizzard are quite open with how right now they want to have as many people trying that day one to max level experience as possible, to find very obvious problems, like the fact that if you go through the story as quickly as possible, only doing the campaign quests that you need for the story to progress, with no side quests or objectives or dungeons or anything else, then you're going to hit max level long before you finish that campaign, long before you even get to the final zone of Revendreth. Good news for alts who won't have to complete the campaign storyline, but clearly way out of whack for mains on their first adventures into the expansion. At the same time, it has been an absolute joy this week just to, play the new expansion. From the opening Moor adventure through Oribos into Bastion, Maldraxxus, Ardenweald and Revendreth, it's extra striking just how diverse the different environments and characters in Shadowlands are, how completely new and alien everything is, and yes, obviously I am looking forward to level 60 templates coming back because I got class guides to get footage for, but I've had the best time just forgetting about all of that and playing WoW just as someone who loves the game. And I know what you're thinking, leveling is brilliant in every expansion, even WoD, and that's true, but Shadowlands really does have some of that special sauce on it that you felt in Legion right away. It's got a focus and a clarity of vision that, just like Legion, makes it feel like an event expansion so far. And it's going to be especially interesting in the coming weeks as beta testers do hit max level and start doing max level things, and as Blizz implement more of it, to get an idea of just how stuff like upgrading your Covenant, completing the Covenant campaign, unlocking Soulbinds, progressing through Torghast and the more, gathering the materials for and crafting legendaries, collecting conduits, and obviously getting hold of this glorious bony tiny legged boy are going to work, and how long they are going to take. We are getting hints. The embryo of the conduit library system is in the data now, helping you swap out and customize your soulbinds to best conquer the challenge that you are facing and win once a week. There's been changes to the Great Vault numbers too, namely that crazily intimidating for the average player third dungeon column that wanted you to complete 15 mythic dungeons has now been reduced to 10, which is, okay, still a lot, but it's better. So small win, like a kind of a we managed to get through the whole day without shitting our pants kind of win. And most interestingly of all, data mining from Wowhead. Article linked in the description, link fans. That shows a very incomplete roadmap of your Sanctum and Soulbind Renown progress, with different upgrades and rewards unlocking at different levels of Renown. Blizzard have made it clear from the start that it's your Covenant which acts like your artifact weapon or your Heart of Azeroth in Shadowlands, it being the thing that you work towards and progress as part of your endgame throughout the expansion. So even though this list is not complete and definitely not final, and I'll explain why in a minute, it is illuminating to at least see the kind of thing that they're aiming for and get an idea of that progress laid out in black and white like this. Gotta be honest, I find it pretty exciting, but not as exciting as the forums found it, who, upon receiving this news, erupted into the familiar buzz and hum of discussion and feedback that they are famous for. The back and forth between excited and informed minds like a crackling feedback loop of ideas, inspiration, and no, it was a shit show, obviously. So Renown is just AP again, and they were lying about it not being linked to player power, aight? Here it is, the alt killer of 9.0. Ha ha ha! AP is gone, they say. Never believe in Blizzard. So I guess that's Shadowlands ruined before it's even released. G.G. Now, it's perfectly okay to hate this thing, and it's perfectly okay to like and be excited about it. That's up to you. My only job is to make sure that you understand the thing before you come to either conclusion. And shit show comment people, I can see that a lot of you very much do not understand the thing. You probably could have done with watching the video that we made on it at the very beginning of Alpha, but since you obviously didn't, let me explain. Renown is the power that you collect to upgrade your Covenant and progress through this very incomplete and currently nonsensical tree. So whereas I can see why your brain might have instantly dinged and gone AP isn't a great comparison. Where that was an uncapped grindable currency, which is what leads to things like endless island expeditions for days, yay, Renown appears, right now on the face of it at least, to be awarded literally one level at a time. There's 2 weekly quests per week, which award 1 Renown, i.e. 1 level, each. Blizzard have also said that you'll receive Renown for completing your Covenant campaign. Each max level Covenant campaign appears to have 8 chapters, so it seems like a rational conclusion that we might get as much as 1 Renown per chapter for a possible extra 8. And no more. Currently, those are the only sources for Renown. 2 levels per week via 2 weekly quests and the one-off awards from the Covenant campaigns. So this isn't a huge grind, nor is it something that you can get significantly ahead of other people. It looks like currently it could therefore take you anywhere between 16 to 20 weeks to hit the current max level of 40, depending on how much Renown the Covenant campaign actually awards. I'd imagine that might make a decent catch-up mechanic too, just making the Covenant campaign reward increasingly more Renown as the expansion goes on, seeing as it's not on the kind of time gate that weekly quests are. Again, I'm not saying that's good or bad, just making sure that you understand. And then there's the rewards themselves, which feature 10 World Quest reward item level increases throughout the tree, which is interesting, a faction-specific pet at level 23, and upgrades to your Covenant unique weekly thing, like the Venthyr Party Planner or Ardenweald Soul Pod Garden thing. And that's cool. That's the kind of thing I was expecting to find on a tree like this, actually. Actually, I was expecting quite a lot more Covenant-y type stuff like mounts and transmog, and at the moment you get the pieces of your Covenant armor set by doing the max level campaign, but there could be recolors in the Renown tree, other mounts, those Covenant-specific weapon enchants that we recently saw, and I'm sure that is something that we'll see later on, because honestly, that's what a system like this is going to be really good at. From a player power point of view though, the most interesting thing about these Renown levels and their rewards, indeed by far the most plentiful thing, is the Soulbind unlocks. Soulbinds are the 3 extra talent trees that you customize with conduits and can swap between whenever you like, and we've always known that these would be unlocked row by row via the Renown system. And if you think we didn't know that, then well, what can I say? You still didn't go and watch that old video, even though I specifically told you to, but fine, it doesn't matter, we're here now, it's fine. I always had it in my head that we'd be able to choose which Soulbind we'd put our Renown into, meaning that most of us would focus pretty much entirely on maxing out each one in turn, but that doesn't look to be the case, because the various ranks on the Renown tree specify which Soulbind and row is unlocked with every separate Renown rank. Does this mean that you're going to get stuck with one Soulbind being unlocked that you don't want, while your fave is neglected and unusable? No, because it seems like this will unlock each Soulbind pretty much at the same pace. Pelagos row 3 comes just 1 rank before Clear row 3, for example, and it's like that throughout. The 3rd Soulbind option for each Covenant looks like it unlocks later, but it pops up at level 7, just a couple of Renown ranks after the other 2, which suggests that it too will be leveling at the same pace alongside them, but that the previous ranks just aren't in the tree yet. Like I say, it's incomplete and nonsensical right now. And then the final 8th row of all 3 Soulbinds are unlocked all together at the same rank, currently 39. I mean, it would seem like a pretty fitting reward for level 40, you know, so I hope they have something good there, is all I'm saying. There is, of course, no Pathfinder for flying on this at the moment, which John Haidt said would be unlocked via Renown, but we did also have it confirmed from Ian at BlizzCon that that would be coming later on in the expansion. And that is the system as we currently understand it. Personally, I think this looks pretty interesting. I like that it's going to be super easy to keep up with. I certainly think that the Soulbind unlocks are an attractive enough reward that I'm going to want to keep up to date, and this, combined with doing the stuff that I need to make legendaries, plus the slightly less essential work of unlocking stuff like the Covenant teleportation network and Anima rerouter thing and repairing the zone through that, I reckon that looks like it could be an entertaining and varied endgame for 9.0. You may feel differently, and that's okay, but for me, it just adds to the general good feeling that I've got about Shadowlands. I already know loads more about what my max level day-to-day is going to look like than I did before BFA, and I'm looking forward to it. Basically what I'm saying is that there is nothing here that means this can't be a win. Whew, all this winning is thirsty work, I know, but we're not done yet because it's time for win number 4, Shadow Priest changes. Shadow has been seen as a problem class by huge swathes of the community for a while now, and passions have been running particularly high ever since the Shadowlands Alpha revealed that, basically all the stuff that people don't like about the class, essentially the central concept of building insanity to enter void form and then trying to stay in void form as long as possible by maximizing spell usage as insanity ticks inexorably down, was still the central concept in the new expansion. And with Blizzard announcing that although class changes are ongoing, that no one would be looking at a total rework, Shadow Priest's hearts sank because, you know, they wanted a total rework. Now, obviously, we are going to be looking at Shadow Priest properly along with everyone else in our Shadowlands class guides, but I have to come clean here. I have skin in this game because I main a Discipline Priest, because of course I do, I'm a baller, which means I play Shadow probably over half the time that I'm on my main, for questing, but also occasional Mythic Plus and Heroic Raiding too, and I have to say, sorry, I'm a fan of BFA Shadow Priest and the Void Form playstyle in general. I find it fast and hectic and unique, but I know that loads of people hate it, and I'm not trying to speak for you, and if Blizz want to make Shadow players happy, hey, I'm not complaining. So, with the rework, Void Form is removed as the central pillar of the playstyle, being now a flat 15-second 20% damage buff on a 90-second cooldown. Your dots and fillers still build insanity, but now the only spender outside of one talent choice is the new improved Devouring Plague, which is your hardest hitting instant damage outside of Power Word Death, and also your biggest dot damage. So you basically using any other ability over it, even Void Bolt when in Void form, is a DPS loss, which, okay, I get it, I'm a Devouring Plague machine now, and I'm okay with that, but it does seem a little bit unintuitive. What is neat is some really great interplay between new talents, which lets you pop those dots off liberally and super efficiently. There's much less ramp up, button presses therefore seem more solid and impactful than the BFA iteration. I think there might even be a place for surrender to madness in most situations too. My main criticism at the moment is that the existence of insanity at all now feels a bit weird, kind of like those bones that blue whales still have in their tail, which are from when it used to have legs and walk on land as a mammal, but are now totally redundant. Insanity feels like something that's part of the spec just because it was before, rather than because it really adds anything. But the most important thing, whilst acknowledging that there is refinement needed, most Shadow players love the changes, and I really like them too, which I'm allowed to, even if I also quietly mourn the loss of the Void Form loop. I can do both. Listening to player feedback and reworking an entire class, even though they said they wouldn't and clearly had no desire to, you've got to say that is another win for Blizz. And we are not done with the winning. We're nowhere near done with the winning, because we got our first look this week in Amazon previews of pages from the new Christie Golden Eastern Kingdoms book, which is exactly the kind of semi-encyclopedia, semi-art book thing that we wanted, complete with added notes in the margins from Shaw and Flynn, who we now know are like totally doing it. But we're not done winning, because there's a huge new round of animal types being made available for taming by hunters in Shadowlands, which, okay, you might think is only interesting to hunters, but honestly, I think we all benefit from players in our raids or dungeon groups being able to whip out pigs, or giraffes, or coursers, or mammoths, or camels, and by camels obviously I mean alpacas, oh yeah, and also cloud serpents, oh yeah, and also undead dinosaurs. Yeah, I think all our lives are made better by having undead dinosaurs running around and attacking our enemies for us. That's a win-win! Man, so much winning, what else? There's the genuinely splendid Reckful tribute NPC, which has been added to the inside of Stormwind Cathedral, where players gathered to pay their respects on learning of his death recently. The NPC is a recreation of his in-game character and has a dialogue option where you can say, "It was good seeing you again." And when you /hug or love the NPC, it will hug or love you right back, which is fair play, a classy win right there. And finally, there's what may turn out to be the biggest win of all. And you knew I was going to talk about this. Recent reports from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg cast light on the pretty common knowledge that Blizzard staff are generally massively underpaid compared to other game development studios in California. A shameful fact, which I know myself to be true, having had conversations about it with plenty of employees myself, even like incredibly famous and celebrated ones who you'd think would be able to write their own check at any other studio, but who love WoW so much that they are willing to essentially accept substandard remuneration for their work. Very shitty practice, especially when your company is reporting record profits and your CEO is walking away with millions in bonuses. Side point, but if, by the way, you are angry that CEOs like Bobby Kotick make millions in bonuses off of the value that his employees' labour creates while seemingly not doing very much himself other than underpaying them and firing tons of them every now and then to make more money because that's his job, well, you're right to be angry, and I got some books you can read if you like. So far, so absolute not win, right? But this week came the news that hundreds of Blizzard employees are organising through the company's Slack channel to present a list of workplace requests to their employers, including fair pay, which seems fair, increased sick leave and vacation allowance, and pay increases for customer service and QA workers. Okay, and so far they have not received any of this from Blizz, but in fairness, they haven't formally presented their demands yet, and honestly, it's incredibly impressive and ballsy that they've even got this far, and if it works, then we will be witnessing one of the first major victories for organised labour in the US games industry, and that, frankly, is amazing and important, because I don't know about you, but just from a purely selfish point of view, I don't want all the best people at Blizz effing off to other game studios who are going to pay them properly. And because it might just turn out that supporting the organisation of workers could be a better way of improving fairness and working conditions than even making fun of Diablo Immortal or getting angry about store mounts. I know, it's crazy. Come on, if there's one thing that Blizzard love, from Arthas to Kerrigan, it's a redemption story, right? How would that one look on your 2020 bingo card? If, after all of the absolute mountains of shit in this shitty year, Blizzard basically got the first US games industry workers union. Okay, so I have to ask you, what is the new Shadowlands pet that you are most looking forward to taming?
Okay, definitely one of the dinosaurs.
Right, an undead dinosaur? Because dinosaurs aren't new, are they?
Yes.
Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, no. They're undead dinosaurs, but I'm deciding which undead dinosaur I want.
Right.
There's the one that's like just kind of decaying and dead, which
Right.
is cool. He's super cool. But then they're like the Zandalari dead ones.
Right.
Like the reanimated ones with the gold bits. And
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do if you like get a new pet like that? Do you A, plan your transmog to match?
Yes.
And B, make sure that you're always playing Beast Mastery and don't go marksmanship even if it's best?
Yes. I know, this is the price you pay. This is the price I am willing to pay. That's
Do
the
you know
plan.
what you should be able to tame?
What?
Longboi.
No.
Why not? What do you think that the mighty Caravan Brutosaur is, if not a tamed Longboi?
He is absolutely a tamed Longboi, but he's not a fighter. He's a lover. Pets shrink when you tame them. So you would have this, like, really tiny Longboi next
Yeah,
to
but-
you. So it's kind of cute, because he's, like, tiny and long, but also not. I don't know.
Hey, imagine if you were married to someone that didn't have the Longboi. Can you even imagine that?
I've already got my Longboi.
Ah, the same joke again, and I love it.
Ah,
It never gets old. Actually, it gets old at the same amount as I do. And just as we were kind of starting the filming, the pages for Christie Golden's new Eastern Kingdoms book cropped up, which I briefly mentioned in my report, but it looks really good. It looks like exactly what you wanted it to be. It's all like handwritten and like with little kind of interjections
Nice.
and sort of
Aw,
notes
I
in
can't wait.
the columns and things like that. And it's really cool. But one thing I did notice was that there is like a whole kind of half page, which is one little section, about the section is about Stormwind Cemetery,
Yeah.
and there's a whole bit about Tiffin Rin.
Ooh.
And it made me think, you know how like before we had an expansion that was exploring like, you know, Argus and the Titans and the founding of the Burning Legion and stuff. Do you know how it was really handy that Chronicle came out just before Legion?
That was
and
really
kind
handy.
of just reminded us all about that stuff,
Yes.
and was like, okay, and this is how the Titans worked, and this is how the
Yeah.
Burning Legion was set up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that turned out to be really handy in hindsight.
It
Really,
did.
really handy. All I'm saying is, if we were about to have an expansion which was like exploring the afterlife and stuff like that, and if Anduin Rin was leader of the Alliance, and you know, maybe if I wanted to somehow introduce a strand about Tiffin Rin,
I
his
see what you're
mother,
getting at.
in the,
I
maybe
see
I would
now.
also
I see
want
now.
to remind people about it in a book that was coming up.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's all.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying. That's
I don't
how
know,
I
but-
think. I'm sure that's got nothing to do
Yeah.
with it. Nothing to do with it at all. We've had our first look at heirloom gear upgrades. Now, you don't level any other characters, do you?
Nope.
You are a kind of a 1 or 2 character gal.
I've done some leveling in the past,
Yeah,
obviously.
like when we leveled together in Miss Pandaria.
Yeah.
Me with Mivanwi, my priest, and you with your rogue, who was called...
My rogue?
You literally can't remember,
No.
can you? You were playing a rogue. You leveled up with a rogue.
Wow.
Yeah. You're not really interested in heirlooms, right?
Not so much.
Okay.
Not anymore now that I know they're kind of useless.
Right. Well, they're not. That's the thing. Because,
Oh.
okay, we have taken away the XP bonus. I've had nothing to do with it. We have taken away the XP bonuses, which I think is all well and good, since leveling apparently just doesn't take very long at all now.
Nice.
And, you know, the idea is it's meant to be a more cohesive experience. So I get that. So the challenge is to add like other bonuses to them that still help you level faster,
Sure.
but aren't a direct XP increase.
Such as?
It's like a passive XP increase.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's like they're set bonuses. So 2 set bonus gives you more rested XP.
Okay. That helps.
Like there's a set bonus with more pieces, which every time you level, like an explosion happens around you and you gain stats for a little bit and stuff like that.
Fun.
And then there's more rested XP bonus, and it's like it's on the
Okay.
right track.
Yeah.
I still think there's room for a small speed bonus in there. I think like a 10-15% speed bonus would be amazing.
That'd be brilliant.
Because like it's going to help you level so much quicker, right?
Yeah.
But it's not an XP increase, and it just helps you kind of dash around from quest to quest quicker. And I think that'd be like it's a no-brainer. I guess the reason they don't want it is because it feels bad when it goes away.
Yeah.
Like, and I do get that. So maybe it could be like a proc speed increase. Like sometimes you just proc a speed increase, I guess.
Alright.
I don't know, but that seems to me like the kind of thing that they should be going
Yeah.
for. Like the rested XP bonus is great for the 2 set. I kind of like the weird explosion-y thing. Like just random kind of stat increases as well would help because it helps you kill stuff quicker.
Yeah.
Blah-de-blah. Maybe like
Blah-de-blah.
you proc something that comes along and helps you fight and stuff. And,
That sounds alright.
you know, stuff like that.
I mean, I am going to level at some point.
Are you?
Yeah. I want to see what it's like, and I want to do all the old expansion
Well,
stuff.
this is very noble of you. Here's the thing, right? We should have a weekly reset next week, but we are moving into August. Now, August is a very difficult time for us because we are moving house.
Here we are.
One way or another, we're
we
moving
are.
house, which means we have to pack up and leave this beautiful apartment that we've been in for so long, and we're moving into a new rented house.
Yeah.
Where obviously we're going to have to reset up the office, reset up all our equipment. We might even have a brand new weekly reset set to
Ooh.
film on.
Ooh.
Ooh, happy times, but it is going to take a little bit of doing. So videos going for the next couple of weeks, after next week I should think,
Yeah.
are going to be a little bit kind of weird and all over the place while we
Yeah.
get ourselves sorted out. But patrons, obviously, we're going to keep you updated as of the process. We want to be like streaming as much as we can as well.
Yeah.
But it might just take us. I don't know if you remember when we first moved into this flat. We had a couple of videos which were incredibly echoey, and just like the walls are like just super bare.
Yeah.
And it's got a very weird vibe.
Yeah.
So we might have a bit of that just while we move.
And
we might,
weird lights as
yeah,
well.
but that's the future. Thank you for joining us today for this episode. If you liked it, don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real life money, Evertel, to make all of our
know.
videos happen.
I know, you don't
Go
have to
and
tell me.
go and thank them right
I
now.
do, every day. I hang out in Discord and I'm like...
Okay, well that's good. I'm glad. Thank you. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. And remember, my name is Mephisto. No, my name is Tali Evi from me.
And me, Evitel.
And Anirin as well.
Yay.
Cheerio!